Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money with your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 656 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with Charles Cormier. Some folks would call Cormier. It's C-O-R-M-I-E-R. And when I first heard about this guy, I was saying, there is no way I'm going to have this guy on my show. I thought he was, I thought he was promoting spamming people because he talks about cold email. And when I looked into it a little bit differently, I said, oh, okay. All right, I can have him on the show. So we're going to love hear what he has to say about that. Plus, he's got a very colorful past here with lots of crazy jobs and stuff. We'll bring him on in a minute. Make sure you pick up a copy of our automation ebook at screwthecommute.com/automate free. And this ebook is just one of the tips that saved me 8 million keystrokes. And I'm not like just picking a number out of the air. We actually estimated it one time. And that's just one of the tips from one little app that cost $20 one time. And it saved me 8 million keystrokes. And that's just one of the tips in this massive book on automation, which allows me to spend time with prospects and customers and develop products and services. That's where the money is, folks. Pick your copy up at screwthecommute.com/automate free. We sell it for $27, but it's yours free for listening to the show. And while you're at it, pick up a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. And put us on your cell phone and tablet and take us with you on the road. All right, let's bring on the main event. Charles Cormier is the CEO of Top Leads. Hey, he's also the Founder Wisdom podcast host, and I was blessed to be on that. He's traveled the world with his wife while building the fastest growing startup ecosystem in the world. We'll want to know about that. And he's a sales guy at heart, and nowadays he obsesses over finding product market fit through cold email. That's not spam. So Charles, are you ready to screw?
Ready to rock and roll.
All right, rock and roll and screw. Yes, sex, drugs, and rock and roll with everything. Charles Cormier. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Now,
pleasure.
I understand that at 16 years old, you got let go from a job, and it really bummed you out.
Yeah, dude, that was one of my first life defeats. I've always had the fortune to kind of be in that protective bubble from being from a middle class, almost upper, if you want. And that was so disappointing to me. I expected to stay there for a while, and it's first job and you're so proud and everything. And then you understand that they only take you for the holidays. Surprisingly enough, I found out that this is pretty common with companies. They kind of abuse, the young people, 15, 16 years old. My brother got let go too, especially in Quebec, Canada. I don't know if that's a thing, but they just hire us, pay us low wages, and just let us go. I don't have much against that nowadays because I promote entrepreneurship, but that was the first disappointment.
Well, it led to something which, the old saying we have is buy low, sell high, and you were selling $1 ties for $40. That's pretty.
Yeah, and all kinds of other shit. But no, the ties were actually probably my best sellers because they look neat. Even nowadays I see some ties and with the motives and everything. These things are made in China. They cost $3. And they are sold in shops for $40, if not $50. I even had a website. I forgot the name, but it was something like tied up or something like that .com, whatever. That's funny.
Yeah. So, but it was in researching you. You said you had 40 outrageous jobs before you even got into being an entrepreneur. What else? Other kind of stuff did you get into?
Well, my best job was probably at this golf. I didn't do much and I chilled, and I actually, what I did? I passed my hangovers. So I had a period a younger period in which I drank a lot, probably from 16 to 15 to 18, 19. And I had my hangovers every Friday, every Saturday. I'm not super proud of it, but I went to the golf. It started at 2 p.m.
So
So I
golf
had time
course, you
to
mean?
sleep.
You worked at a
Yeah,
golf course, right?
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And I was chilling in the carts. I was washing carts and so forth. The most important stuff that I got from this job was seeing the cars in the parking lots, Ferraris, Lambos, and all of that. And that got me inspired. Obviously, a whole bunch of Mercedes, AMGs, and Audis S-Class. So that got me inspired, and I started asking like, hey, what does this guy do? Marciano with the Aston Martin, and then I found out he was like VP at Converse, and so forth. So I used to see these folks and sometimes talk to them, and that got me inspired. And I guess that was one of the very strong factor that fed the fire that was started by 50 Cent and
yeah,
all of these rappers earlier.
Yeah, I was researching you. I saw a lot of 50 Cent mentions around there. Of course, he got shot, so hopefully he avoided that quite a bit.
That was probably my path in another life. I got lucky, like I only got a bottle broken over my head in Mont Tremblant, in which I did an Ironman 2 weeks ago. I have this story that I've written over that, but yeah, in another life, in many of my parallel lives, I'm probably dead. That's probably what I chased for, in this young life.
Well, I'm glad you're on here because I got slapped one time in Montreal. and and I don't really know. No one will tell me exactly what I did, but I always, when I'm speaking internationally, I try to say something in their language. French people don't really appreciate it so much, but most other countries do when you at least try. And so I thought I was saying, I thought I was saying thank you very much, like merci beaucoup, right?
Okay.
But I said merci beaucoup. And see, you're like,
no fucking way.
It's different, right? I think it's like, thank you for your nice ass or something. What exactly does it mean?
Yeah, but is that a true story? Because that's really freaking funny if it is.
Yes, it's exactly what happened.
Oh, maybe that. So yeah, you got slapped by women. Yeah, that might justify. So my bottle was broke out my head by an American girl though in Mont Tremblant. So there's a lot of Americans coming up, because the drinking age is 18. But
right.
Yeah, and in Montreal, there is a fight culture. We fight a lot in bars. So I was speaking to one of my friends, and he said that in Australia, as soon as you look drunk in a bar, they can legally put you out,
right,
because of bar fights that used to happen a lot, and they've got laws and they're super clean. But funny enough, in Quebec, they never really let go of that. Maybe it's because we love hockey so much and we love the fights in the hockey. But yeah, a bunch of people die, in bars from getting knocked out and falling and tripping over something. And yeah, we still haven't really fixed that in Quebec.
Well, I mean, maybe you should tell me after we get done here what I said exactly.
Yeah, it's like nice ass. Beaucoup is like, nice ass.
Oh, so I said like, thank you for your nice ass.
Yeah, something like that. Poor you didn't know.
I tried. Yeah. So now you also spent some time in Hong Kong, right? I went to Chinese University in Hong Kong with the executive program one time, and it was before the changeover and before what's happening recently. But what'd you do? What'd you do there?
Well, Hong Kong changed my life for the better. So, I mean, at that point of time, I was still somewhat seeing my old friends, which always had obviously an influence over bad behaviors, like who can drink the most. And like I was studying in business. I got defeated, my probably second or third life defeat, which was being refused in a law program that I studied extensively for.
Right.
And that I got good grades and everything and did the sacrifice. I was so disappointed when I received the letter telling me no by 2 universities with a grade average of like 85%, like what the hell do you want me to do? So I applied for business, they accepted me. And then I was like, okay, yeah, there's not much to learn in this business program, but let's travel. That will change my life. And at that point, I already was a somewhat successful entrepreneur, and I had started a couple of ventures. So they sent me to Hong Kong. And lo and behold, that totally changed my life because it was the first time that I was alone for like 4 months. I was hustling on my business, working like probably 16, 17 hours a day. I ended up meeting a bunch of cool people there. I registered a business, met a future COO that would work for me, Sam, still a friend up to this day. And basically, yeah, I was just hustling 16 hours a day, going to the gym there, going to the swimming pool, running in the mountains, meditating in Tibetan temples. So it was like not the typical parkour, if you want, of an exchange student, which was, hey, make friends, go party, go get drunk. No, I just hustled in my little room that was 2 meters by 4 meters. I don't know how you would have fit in there, by the way, Tom.
I know, I couldn't fit in
but
there.
but you know what? My roommate, he was like 6'8", Marcel. And he like fit in there. So imagine that,
You had
like
a roommate in a 2x4.
Yeah, 6'8" German dude, and I don't know, man. It was weird sometimes. My first roommate was so weird that I got him out. He was a little Chinese guys. Anyway, like I won't get into that one, but basically I hustled my way through, started a bunch of startups there, and came back a changed man. I could work from a distance. I could make money on a totally different time zones. I met a bunch of friends, business connections, and from there, I never looked back.
Maybe that's where you started your breath work, is because you had to hold it so long by being in the same room with that big guy.
Exactly. Oh man, he stank. But yeah, no hate from Marcel. He might be listening to that. So much love to that guy. He asked me for some business advice, and I gave it to him. So hope that he's doing well. But yeah, he was humongous.
So now you moved to Mexico, right?
Yeah.
No, well, wait a minute. So you
years,
moved from
yeah.
a fighting place in Quebec to that they drink like crazy to Mexico. Well, they don't drink there, do they?
No, it's, they just get passed out drunk every Saturday on mezcal and tequila. But no, Mexican culture. I mean, I have something special for that culture. I was reflecting on my first full Ironman, which I did in Cozumel. It's funny because I had mystical moments on these bike rides. My first one was me shedding tears of joys from this culture that accepted me with open arms, and changed my life totally. Very nice people. It's not like we see in the news, like the gunshots and the dangerous narcos. No, they're very cool people. I love them. I love Mexico. Basically, the story is that yet and again, I came back after Hong Kong and I met with my friends, and we ended up doing cocaine and whores night. Just another one after, like me being not clean, because, I was nothing near drug addict or anything like that, but it was definitely not helping the life I wanted to have, being successful, being an entrepreneur, and scaling and being the best version of myself. So after that, I said, no more. I'm getting out of this fucking place. I want to be away from that type of culture for a while. So I booked the first nice Airbnb that I saw in Mexico, which was in this place called Oaxaca. I didn't know anything about Oaxaca. And I booked a flight to Oaxaca. It was cheap. It was very cheap. The Airbnb was probably $700, and same thing for the flight, So I was like, by that time, I had multiple clients in the real estate realm. So they were realtors. I was doing web marketing for them. And I was like, how? And I had a car lease and a bunch of other things holding me back here. But I was like, I don't give a shit. I'm getting out of here. And I arrived in Mexico, and yeah, I could adapt to that. My clients did not dump me. That's what I would have thought in my mind, because they were still used to see me and call me and so forth. So I still had the phone number and everything, and I could still make sales from a distance without closing them physically, because that's what I was doing. And I ended up meeting my wife on Tinder. That was like 6 years ago. And wow. Yeah, I just scaled from there. I traveled the world after that with my wife. We did Costa Rica, the full South America. We did the full Europe. And yeah, that has been humongous growth in my life, hockey stick type of growth.
Amazing. And now that I think of it, I got some crazy stories from Mexico, but one of them had to do with language again.
Okay.
So I was down
Oh,
there.
shit.
One of the guys that taught me to fly, I was a charter pilot for a while.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was an old Vietnam vet, kind of crazy. And he told me he wanted me to come down and live with him for a while on the tip of the Baja Peninsula, Cabo San Lucas, and
Yeah.
on a
Nice
sailboat.
place. Did an
And-
Ironman there.
Yeah, and he said, buy a Rolex, and then if you get down there and you get in trouble, you can bribe your way out of it. And he told
Really?
me to say, Puedo pagar. And he told
Puedo
me,
pagar.
yeah, that's different. He told me that meant I can pay.
Okay.
But Puedo pagar means I can hit you.
Pegar. Okay.
Yeah,
Pegar.
pagar
Puedo
is like,
pegar.
so he was telling me how to really get in deep trouble, and they'd still get my watch after they beat the shit out of me. Another time, I was down there, and the peso was 1,100 to 1. You know, it's really
Holy
cheap
shit.
to go down there. It was long before
What?
you were around. Yeah, you were a baby or something when I was down there.
My God.
And so my friends told me get some silver. So
Okay.
silver is plata. And so I get in a cab and I tell the guy plata, and he says, okay. So he starts driving. He drives out of town, heading up in the mountains. And I'm thinking, holy shit, I just got kidnapped in Mexico.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do if I jump
Yeah.
out. I'm in the jungle. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Okay.
And I'm freaking out. I'm thinking, what the hell? And we drive an hour and a half. And the whole time I'm thinking, what am I going to do? There's going to be guys here going to kill me. And he pulls into the Pepsi bottling plant. He thought I said Pepsi. so I said, no, Pepsi Plata. And I got the dictionary out. I said, oh, he says Plata. So he drives an hour and a half back to town, and he parks in the same spot that he picked me up in, and he points across the street. So I was in like petrified for an hour and a half that I just got kidnapped.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. What do you do when you're kidnapped? What would be your reaction as a self-defense guy now that you know?
Oh, well, how many guys are there? You know, I would say Puedo pagar. I could pay, but just don't kill me. Right. So, yeah, I mean, if there's multiple people out and there's nowhere to hide, nowhere to run, they all got weapons, you're screwed. Yeah. You shouldn't have been there. That's the whole thing.
Because I never got in any of those situations in Mexico. People are so nice, but I guess I'm different because I speak the language.
Yeah,
and
that
also,
helps.
you
Yeah,
know,
you
I'm
don't
just-
look like a mark. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just chill with them. I talk with them and so forth. And I don't think they want any trouble. I think most people in life, aka predators, predators, by the way, deep down, I think they just want to take advantage of easiness. You know?
Exactly. Easy marks.
So,
yeah. When in our
if
self-defense.
they smell fear off your back in the cab and you're like at unease and you look at them in the mirror, then they might gonna take advantage. But the nearest I've got to that, I think, was in Guatemala with a taxi cab driver. Was in the night, you know, and I decided not to take an official taxi. And the guy was really odd. I could sense that he had some things in his head that he wanted to do, you know, but he decided not to act upon. He had a daughter, and yeah, he was kind of shady, but yeah, that one I got out of it kind of.
Well, in the self-defense course, we've showed people interviews with criminals, and we showed them pictures of different people and videos of different people. All the criminals picked the same people to attack because they looked like they were easy targets. But I don't know. Probably the most scared I've ever been is in Thailand when the lady boys were trying to get me.
Damn. Yeah, they're aggressive. I got a good story about that one too.
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
go on with yours. Yours
Well,
first.
that's it. You know, you got to watch their hands and their Adam's apples to see what they're made of.
So yeah, I got in Paris at once with my friend into a 2 weeks drunken stupor, like 2 weeks nonstop, you know. And yeah, that's after that I stopped, you know, wanting to touch alcohol. And we upgraded to Coke after that. But yeah, basically, yeah, I've got a bunch of stories from there, but the most poignant one I think is, yeah, there was this lady in the street, and she or he had her boobies out, and she was like, yeah, touch them. So yeah, like we did we did exactly that. And while we did that, she reached out in my pocket for my brand new iPhone 5 at the time. I was in 2010-ish or something. And yeah, she stole my phone. And then I get to check my iPhone like 2 minutes later. And like, okay, that bitch just stole my iPhone. So we go back and we see them next to a car. And yeah, she had like all of her person and stuff. And yeah, sometimes I get like well, still, if someone fucks with me, I get kind of crazy. So I was like, okay, yeah, first, this is not a lady, so I can potentially punch them. And it's like, okay, yeah, you give me my iPhone back. And then she did not. And yeah, since I was drunk for like 2 weeks, I was punching, but I was punching in slow motion. So I never reached the target. And basically she ended up, she got out a canister of pepper spray, but the bear one,
Oh yeah.
that shoots this shit like crazy. And she got me right in the face and my friends. And then she proceeded to hit us with her purse, and it wasn't no normal purse. It was a purse to hurt. There were fucking bricks in there, and it's a he. It's not a she.
Right.
And yeah, we proceeded to like get away from that threat and go like up the street. And somehow they had water coming down the streets in these kind of irrigation system. Not sure if it was sewer or something, but we put that in her face. And yeah, that was a pretty bad one, but I got my iPhone out of it. That's the good news.
That's so what happened. Those boobs will get you every day, every time.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, or fake ones anyway.
That was my past life, to tell you how fucked up it was.
Well, here's something that you'll kind of crack up about. See, the reason that would never happen to me is because I'm actually allergic to alcohol. I can't. If I take one drop, I might break out in hives. My whole head lights up, and so I had a nightclub for 6 years, and I never took one drop. Most nightclub owners are alcoholics because they get all that.
Good thing for you.
Yeah. So
I don't drink anymore either. It gives me headaches, just thinking about it.
Oh boy!
Except when it's bachelor's party. I had 2 years, so I unfortunately got to touch that again. But yeah, alcohol never did anything good. For people out there, there's better alternative. One easy one is caffeine.
Yeah.
There's breath work as well that gets you kind of high naturally. And there's exercise. Exercise the best one. After you get off these endorphins and all these beautiful molecules popping up in your brain after you're done with a good workout. I mean, that there's no better feeling.
There you go. All right. So now let's get into some business stuff. Now you said, see, a lot of people get excited about business, but there's a quote of you that says you can't rely on jet fuel ambition.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
A bunch of those weird ones, but jet fuel, I think it was the analogy to that, like if you rely, just like the keto diet and how humans, they burn fat and carbs for fuel. Jet fuel ambition is like very short term. It's very primal. It's like, okay, it's me today being high on caffeine and a bunch of other nootropics and being like, okay, I want to do that. And that's what like most founders come up with, but you need to have higher motivation. So most founders, what is that jet fuel other than the one that I just described? Most of it's money. So I want to make money off that. I want to get rich, and that's cool. But a lot of time when you start, you don't only have you're not going to make money all the time. So you need to have passion to kind of rescue you when the money is not there. So something that is lighting you up without paying. A good example is this podcasting. I don't really do that for money. I just do it because conversations are good for my brain. I get smarter. It's fun, to talk to other people. So that's kind of normal gasoline, if you want. And then the supreme gasoline is indeed, it's the money. It's the animalistic part of me that is driven to reach that. And when I'm not making money, or when my sales cycles are longer, when that sale takes longer for whatever reason, or we hit a crisis, a recession, for example, not saying that I'm not making money in those because I've got like nice systems, but if I ever do, then I have the passion that will keep the ball rolling forward. So that's what I meant by that.
Right. And it's got to be consistent and long-term to work. Now, from this podcast, I think most of the audience would say, that Charles is a real introvert.
Dude.
But
That it's weird, but it's like that. I mean, I'm 50-50, I think, from being a nerd that I love spending time by myself. I
hmm
think how do you say? I think my brain is advanced enough so that I kind of engineer that extroverted personality. I've been naturally extrovert at some points of my life, but I love spending time by myself too. So for example, today before hopping on the call, had situation to handle in my team, managing emotions, two emotions at the same time, two humans. And I don't do that well with that. And in these moments, I need to retreat by myself, do some breathing, get chilled again, and then come back in that arena. That's a good example of me not being that much of a good extrovert and me being like, okay, I don't want to interact with humans for now.
but you have said, and I totally agree. I mean, I live by myself. I go to these big events and speak with thousands of people, and
Yeah.
everybody thinks and I'm totally extroverted. But then I'm like happy to go home and be by myself and just chill and
Yeah.
think and stuff. And you kind of call that a superpower, right?
Yeah. I think it's a superpower. And let me just say that being by yourself is also a state of mind. Like right now, like I said, I'm in the work mode. Okay. Like my body and my brains know that it's work because I've been following that routine for so long. I have caffeine in my veins. I'm in the fucking action right now. I'm in action mode, but give me 2 to 3 to 4 hours and everything will shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And it won't be that personality of Charles. It will be a more laid back Charles, a more introverted Charles that is out of the arena. And I think it's indeed a superpower if you can balance both, because both have advantages. um, I don't always want to be the dominant alpha Charles that speaks too much, and is the center of attention. I also want to reflect. I want to be self-critical and take notes and learn and be the student. So it's kind of a balance between being the slave and the master. I wrote also posts about that. Um, I'm a good slave. I'm a good master. I'm good at executing. I'm good at following advice. I'm good at being coach. I'm also good at giving marching orders to people that needs to follow them, and that's a superpower.
Yeah, and I think especially the not having to be the center of attention all the time, people like you better. They're more attracted to you if you're not just you all the time,
Yeah,
and you're saying, okay, well, what do you do? How are you feeling? What are people just are
exactly.
attracted to that for sure. Now, there's
Yeah.
something that we have in common that has nothing to do with boobs. Uh, or whiskey or tequila, but
Cognac.
for many years, probably before you were born, I've been saying that copywriting is the number one skill in my entire
Woohoo.
business career. I
Oh
mean, I've been formal business almost 45 years now,
yeah.
and even since I was 10 years old, doing side hustles, making
Mm,
flyers and selling stuff. So
yeah.
you're kind of obsessed with words, aren't you?
Yeah, not as much as I would like to, but I started digging not so long ago in etymology just to tell you the levels of
Wow.
obsession. So I think that's like level probably 8.5 on 10.
Yeah.
I plan to reach the 9.5. So I'm now a nerd digging out the roots of words. So like I use this app, it's called Pocket, and I save up etymology of words and I go to bed and I read them afterwards. I'm obsessed with the craft of writing something that will entertain someone, light up these serotonin
Mm-hmm.
lights in their brain, and lead them to some action. In that case, which is to book a call with me.
Mm-hmm.
I love speaking to humans. I'm in love with humans. That's a good thing about me. I think some
Yeah, it's
people
better
are
than
disgust.
animals,
I'm
probably.
in love with animals too, by
Yeah,
the way.
I am too, but a different way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, humans, they're so fascinating. Like your story, Tom, like my story, it's just fascinating. It's like a movie. I see every people like walking movies, their biographies, the events that they live in their life. We can learn from like literally anyone. So my goal when I'm writing those emails is to get them in front of me just so I can discover who they are, grow my network, and learn. And I will do anything to get them in front of me. Well, not like anything, but I will say funny shit, and I will I will like make fun of myself, and I will
Yeah.
put it all out there, and I don't give a crap. My ego is not there when I write, and copywriting indeed is such an amazing skills because it makes you a better business communicator, and not just business, but communicator period. And communication is the number one skill for all humans, makes you a better manager, a better thinker. Obviously it improves your sales, and everything is sales, HR is sales. You're selling someone to go um, get a job for you, get an interview, and then convert them into an employee. You can raise capital if you're good at sending cold emails. We do raising as a service here at Top Leads. You can get on a podcast like with you. How do you think we're here today?
Right.
With this magic, and yeah, like if you have to focus on one skill, well, first the area I'd recommend you start with, anyone if you're listening to this, is sales. And then if you want to dive deeper, go with copywriting. Cold email is so much more scalable than cold calls anyway. So yeah, super skill.
Yeah, explain to them what you mean, because like I said, when I first heard it, I just glanced at it and I said, oh, that's spam. But then I started thinking about it. To explain why it's not spam.
Yeah, spam is the ancestor of cold email. So cold email is like the child prodigy, if you want. Spam is like gone instinct. It's just not relevant. It's bullshit. It's not good copywriting. It's
not personal.
Relevant.
It's just enormous numbers.
Yeah, and it's trash, and it's using a blue font color and bolds, like weird font and whatever, it's bullshit. Cold email, 4 steps. 1, targeting the right person, your right ICP. 2nd, writing great email. So that's copywriting right there. 3rd, getting in the inbox. So open rates. So if you're doing that well, then chapeau to you. My hat's off. 4, A/B testing, checking the data and seeing what works, doubling down on that, and seeing what doesn't work and killing it. So that's copywriting. I use an app called Apollo.io. They should pay me for saying that. And I use SendGrid to get these open rates up. Apollo allows you to get the contacts and to send the emails. I teach people how to do that. I coach people how to do the setup and so forth. But even then, after you're done with that, you need to work on your copy by writing every day, every single day. As a CEO of multiple businesses, I still write on a daily basis, and I practice. I test out different product offers to various audiences. And with that, not only can I sell more, but start new businesses that are working super well so that I can get richer, more powerful, and have an impact on this world.
But these emails are 1-to-1. You're picking one person and creating an email for that person, right?
No, well, it's semi-automated, like a semi-automatic gun. So in Apollo, you can add 25 by 25 in a list, and then you add that whole list to a sequence, and it sends to these hundreds, if not thousands, at a time. And you personalize their first name, you personalize the company, you send a campaign that is specific. So let's say that I target headphone brands. Well, this campaign will be for CEOs of headphone brands making 5 million a year, and that got funded, or are recruiting, or are using XYZ technology on their website. So it's that precise. So it's semi-personalized, we could say, and semi-automated. So it's not like I can add 1 million person at the same time, and thank God, that would be kind of spam.
Right.
But yeah, it's semi-automated, so it's highly efficient.
Yeah, it would have to be like super targeted because, the Can Spam Act here in the United States, and Canada's got some crazy thing with $10 million fines and the GDPR and all that.
Yeah, there's can spam, as long as you have your address in there, you have the unsubscribe options, you have your name, and you're relevant. Most importantly, you won't get into problems. Important to mention that what we do here is B2B. Okay, so B2C, you will get into trouble.
Right. I was just sitting here thinking, man, I don't know, that doesn't sound right to me. B2B is a little bit different because consumers are they're ready to hit the spam button and complain and
call the agency. But like business people, they understand, that this is sales, this is a common culture, common practice, and also it's a gray zone, all of that. But if you follow the basic guidelines, target the right person with the right offer, and you mention your right information at the end of the email, and you mention how you got their contacts, you're legit.
Okay, yeah, because like I said, I was really like wondering there for a minute, because anything more than one person seems like it's unsolicited commercial email. But
It's
yes, you're right.
personalized, think of it of, even cold calls, you have higher odds to get into trouble with cold calls, um, because people are more pissed off by it. Think of it as just a reporting system. How many people will complain at the end of the day? If your writing is shit and you target with people with what they don't need, they will report you. Even LinkedIn outreach to an extent is under the canned spam stuff. And I mean, LinkedIn outreach, right? Who would have thought? But this can be interpreted in various ways. And also the major factor here is quantity. If you hit 1 million people at the same time,
Right,
and you're totally not relevant, you are going to get into trouble.
Right. No question about it. All right, well, we got to take a brief sponsor break. When we come back, we'll ask Charles what a typical day looks like for him, and then we'll tell you how to get a hold of him. He's got some great websites you want to check out. So, folks, about 25 years ago or so, I kind of turned the internet marketing guru world on its head, and that people at my level were charging 50 or 100 grand up front to help you with their stuff. And I knew a lot of these people. They'd be hiding out in Mexico. If you gave him 50 grand, you'd never see him again. So I said, that's too risky for small business. So I said, I'm going to just charge an entry fee, and then I'm going to tie my success to their success, which none of these other people would do. People kind of like that. So for me to get my 50 grand, you have to net 200 grand. And 1,700 plus students later, the program's still going strong. It's the longest running, most successful, most unique internet and digital marketing mentor program ever online. It's got some unique features in that you get an immersion weekend where you actually live in this estate home with me for an immersion weekend. We have a TV studio here where we shoot marketing videos for you. Everything is one-on-one with me and my entire staff, so you're not lumped in with people that are more advanced or less advanced. Like I said, nobody will I've triple dog dared people to put their program up against mine, and nobody will do it because I'm a crazy fanatic. So check it out if you want that kind of level of service, and you can check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. All right, let's get back to the main event. We're here with Charles Cormier. I'm trying to pronounce things right because I don't want to get slapped again from these French.
If anyone's going to slap you, it's going to be Daniel Cormier.
Oh, who's that?
It would be good competition.
I
think he's your height.
Yeah, that guy. So tell us what a typical day looks like for you. Do you have a morning routine? I know you're into breathing. Do you meditate? What do you eat? All that.
Yeah, my life goes into seasons, so my routines will always change every, let's say, 3 to 4 months, every quarters. So
is that
right
because
now
of boredom? You get tired of the same routine, or?
It's not only that. It's just cycling things in life is always good. For example, like I'm on coffee right now, but I have periods which I just stop coffee cold, else the caffeine molecule won't have any more effects on me. And yeah, we change. We constantly change with seasons, every cycles, the humans, the biology. So I tend to somewhat follow that if you want.
There's biorhythms. Does that work into it?
Yeah, kind of. It's a bit deeper than that, the way I mean it. But the point is, like, my routine is not the most exciting right now because I'm training for an Ironman, which I did 2 weeks ago, and now I have an ultra run, an 80 kilometer in the mountains that I'm about to do. That's going to be pretty painful. But the point is that usually, for example, I eat once a day. With that routine and with those events, I cannot afford that because my body will ask me for more proteins, more calories, and so forth. So I eat twice a day. Usually I work out in the morning. Now I don't. I just prefer one big fat workout. But I have no excuse for that one. Maybe I should just wake up and start my days working out. But my life changes a lot nowadays in Canada. I change Airbnbs a lot, change environments a lot. So and then place that which I stay. So I just don't have time yet to figure out that one. So my routine. First thing important that you need to know that never really changes is that I'm a big sleeper. Yes, sometimes I do not sleep that much. I tend to cycle that and try it just to get more shit done in the morning. But nowadays I try to sleep in the 2 digits. What does that mean? It's when I'm in my bed and I put my alarm clocks, I like seeing the numbers that my alarm clock will ring in like more than 10 hours. My brain really loves that. He's like, oh, you have luxury. Even if you have troubles getting to sleep, like you lose 1 hour, you'll still get your 8 hours. Mm-hmm. So that's my main thing. Let's say that I wake up around like 9:30. I sleep a lot. Then I have a nice breakfast. I listen to a podcast. My First Millions, my favorite one. I learn a lot from startups and this podcast. After that, I open my computer and I get right into meetings. I have 10 to 20 meetings on a daily basis. Since that's pretty much what I do. I book sales meetings and I'm quite good at it. So I have podcasts in there too. That's probably 20 to 30% of my meets. I have meetings with my team, another 20 to 30. And then, 20 to 30 are sales calls with potential clients. So that's pretty much what I do. I have a small period to write some emails myself, some cold emails myself every day. And I also have a period to which I outsource a bunch of to-dos to my team and monitor these to-dos. So these OKRs, these KPIs. So that's pretty much my work day.
All right, wait a minute. Yeah. You just outlined 20 to 60, 40 to 60 calls a day in addition to everything else, the workouts. How do you...
No, it's like 10 to 20 calls, right? 10 to 20.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't get 40 to 60 calls. That would be quite suicidal.
I was saying because
I did it though. I tried it though. And if today was hectic, that's like two levels of intensity. What is not nice when you have that much calls is that you don't even have time to take your breaths and take notes. And sometimes you forget things and you're late to your other meetings. For example, today I was late again. I know that's not the best of habits, 3 minutes late. That's my day right there. It's like 7 hours per day. And then I have a nice supper. I start relaxing at this point. I may revisit the computer to classify a couple of things that I missed out on, or write one cold email per day, one sequence at least. And I go walk the dog. I go with the wife also. And basically after that, I will read a good 2 to 3 hours per day in my bed. I read like 100 book at the time or 150. And I juggle in between that, reading Wikipedia articles, which are highly educational. And then, the sleep. That's like an oversimplification of my day.
Wow, you're a dynamo. That's for sure. Now, are you staying at Airbnbs as you travel around the world?
Yeah, all the time. I think I'm gonna buy a house soon in Oaxaca because we're getting tired of that lifestyle. But it's still the best lifestyle when you start out in life. To change environment, it's a huge hack to change your mindset. When you change an environment, you can change mindset. So let's say that I'm booking this new luxurious Airbnb with a sea view in Mexico, and I'm like, okay, this is it now. I'm reaching for the top, and I'm going for these new, very ambitious goals. Well, that might very much help with that, and that's a reason why I could grow so much in the last couple of years being a nomad.
Yeah, and I interviewed another guy and his wife. They stay in a country 3 months at a time because the visas run out. Yeah. But he made a course on saving money at Airbnbs, and nice. It's freaking awesome. He saved like $50,000 in 4 months with his negotiating techniques. And
that's cool.
I one of my other students bought the course, and the first day he found a $4,400 a month place and got him down to $2,200. That's a good deal. Yeah,
it must be in very nice Airbnbs too at this price. In Mexico, you can get luxury for $800 a month.
Wow. Yeah. Well, tell people, like, there's several websites you got going here. You got topleads.agency, right?
Yeah, that's my cold email agency. There's charlescormier.com, which is basically my website, my thoughts, linked to a bunch of things that I write. If you want to follow me and get, free advice, that's there, that you need to do that. And then I have my LinkedIn, Charles Cormier. I'm the first on LinkedIn. And I post a bunch of good shit on my LinkedIn on a daily basis.
And you got the podcast, Founder Wisdom Podcast, right?
Yeah, that would be on charlescormier.com. I have a bunch of podcasts. This is one of them. And yeah, I interview founders there. I interviewed you there. It was quite entertaining podcast. And yeah, you could go listen to that one.
Yeah, and so it's Charles, and then Cormier is Cormier. You can find him on LinkedIn, charlescormier.com or topleads.agency. Well, thanks so much, Charles. It's been been a lot of fun hearing about your drunken things. And there's only one thing I can say to you is merci beaucoup.
Thank you for commenting on my ass. I did a nice workout yesterday just for you, Tom. So yeah, thank you. I tried to equal your podcast. I think I kind of did, but I still think you beat me on the entertainment part because you're just that type of a guy.
Well, I think it was mutual. So thanks so much. Everybody check out Charles at charlescormier.com, topleads.agency, catch him on LinkedIn, and check the Founders Wisdom podcast. All right, everybody, we'll catch y'all on the next episode. See you later.